So I just wanted to talk about some table selection strategies. So like how to choose your table. Now it's very, very, very important. Alright, so there's a lot of arguments, a lot of comments about one of my other videos about, oh, you need to play with good players to be good. Yes, playing with good players makes you a better player. But if you want money, you want to play with bad players. Alright? And poker essentially, for a lot of people, is a game about money. So it depends on what you want. But for me, I want to make money. That's the goal. So there's this great quote, the 7 worst poker players in the world, or the 7th worst poker player in the world, could make money if they only find the 6 players that are worse than them. So essentially what you're trying to do is sit down with players that are worse for you. Now, what a lot of people give advice and they're like, oh, sit down with players that suck. Well, suck's a relative term. So you're looking for players that fit your style. So some people write really loose aggressive players, right? Personally, like for example, I love playing against what I call bad aggressive players. So players that are really aggressive but not that good. So they play a wide range of hands, and they just bet, and there's a lot of value in there. I know how to kind of exploit these players, and I also love to play players who are kind of scared of turn and rivers. So like I like to float and steal a lot of flops and turn and rivers. So I'll look for those specific kinds of players as I'm watching. And sometimes, online it's a joke. You can sit there and record stats, but live, essentially what you can do is just comb the area. I sit by a table for 10 or 20 minutes and just watch the players. And if I see 3 players that I can really exploit based on a couple of hands, I'll sit down and essentially play. But it's what's right for you. It's not really. There is bad. Like bad is defined as like kind of loose passive is bad. But some players don't like to play loose passive players because they call too much and they get scared. So a lot of players would be like bet, and on the river, you check because you're so fearful that they have a hand, when in reality their range is pretty much nothing. So it really depends on you it more than anything else. It's much different online versus live, without a doubt. Online, you're using a lot of stats, VPI, PPFR, 3-bet ranges, 4-bet range, all these stats to determine that. Although, we don't really have online in the U.S. anymore, so this is for the foreigners. It's a different thing. Live, you just got to get out there. You got to get out there and watch. You just got to watch your players, watch your opponents, and try as hard as possible to find the players that you can exploit. Okay, and yeah, just don't be a dumbass. If you really wanna make money and you're really like low on your bankroll, you're not wasting time walking around finding the most optimal game for you. You could do this at 1-2. There's strategies, like some people will make the argument that like they're better than any player at 1-2, and they might be, but they might be better playing table A or table C because their style is more exploitive of those players. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, table selection depends on you, and table selection depends on like your methods for exploiting players and if those players are at that table. And so personally, I love and also of course a lot of money. Like a lot of money is always great, or just version of chip stacks. It's really good because I want different amounts of cash at the table. I want to maximize my value, so I like playing deep. But you might not. You might, love a table with a bunch of short stack players. It just really depends on you. But there's no shame in watching. There's no shame in acting like a shark. It's part of being a professional poker player, in my opinion, and it's part of consistently making profits. It's very, very important.